Well, it may be the first time ever an astronaut has been accused of committing a crime in space.
Anne McLean is being accused of fraud and stealing from her ex-wife, all while she was on board the International Space Station.
Attorneys are going to argue a summary judgment case.
It began with a drop of blood, not on Earth, but floating, suspended like a crimson pearl in the airless void of a microgravity lab. Forensic scientists aboard a specially designed flight, nicknamed the Vomit Comet, released artificial blood into the cabin during weightlessness. What they discovered shocked them. In zero gravity, blood doesn't fall, spatter, or drip the way it does on Earth. Instead, it hangs, stretches, and splatters in ways that defy every crime scene protocol we've ever known. Now imagine this: a violent altercation on a future space station, a crew member injured, evidence drifting through recycled air vents, leaving no clear trail. How would investigators even begin to solve the crime? And more importantly, what laws, if any, would apply millions of miles from Earth? To understand how scientists and law enforcement are preparing for crimes in space, we need to explore everything from forensic science in zero gravity to jurisdiction battles between nations to the rise of corporate-controlled colonies on Mars. And as you'll soon see, the most dangerous crimes might not even be committed by humans at all. Section 1. The strange new world of space forensics. Forensic science, as we know it, depends on Earth's gravity. Blood drops follow parabolic arcs, dust settles, gunpowder residue clings in predictable patterns. In space, none of that holds true. That's why researchers are running experiments to simulate what crime scenes might look like in orbit. Inside a parabolic flight plane, scientists used a synthetic version of blood to mimic how stains would behave in microgravity. The results revealed bizarre formations, droplets clinging to walls, hovering mid-air, or stretching into long filaments. Traditional methods of crime reconstruction collapse when there's no down. And that means our justice system has to reinvent itself for an environment where evidence refuses to behave. But altered forensics are just the beginning, because even if investigators could interpret the scene, who would they answer to? This opens up the next, far more complicated question: who actually owns the laws of space? Section 2. Who has jurisdiction in orbit? Back on Earth, if a crime is committed on an airplane, jurisdiction depends on the aircraft's registration and where it lands. But space is different. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967, signed by over 100 countries, states that no nation can claim sovereignty over the moon, Mars, or any celestial body. That means astronauts technically remain under the jurisdiction of their home nation, even when orbiting the Earth or walking on Mars. But what happens when multiple countries are involved, like on the International Space Station? If a US astronaut commits a crime against a Japanese astronaut, both nations may claim the right to prosecute. In 2019, we got our first real taste of this legal gray area when a NASA astronaut was accused of illegally accessing her spouse's bank account from the ISS. It was called the first ever space crime, though it was later resolved quietly. Still, the case raised alarms about how unprepared our systems are for real criminal disputes beyond Earth. And if that case seemed messy, wait until private corporations enter the equation. Section 3. Corporate colonies and the rise of space crime. SpaceX, Blue Origin, and other companies are already designing plans for permanent colonies on Mars or orbital hotels. These won't just be outposts for science. They'll be workplaces, communities, and maybe even crime scenes. But if a crime occurs in a privately run colony, who has authority? The host nation, the corporation, or will we see the rise of new corporate laws in space where mega companies police their own territories? Some experts warn this could lead to a dangerous situation. Imagine a Mars colony run like a company town, where crimes against workers are quietly swept under the rug to protect investors. Others believe corporate-led governance may be more efficient than waiting for earthbound governments to intervene. But as messy as the legal disputes may sound, there's an even stranger problem. What counts as a crime in the first place when survival is on the line? Section 4, Crimes of Survival. Picture this: a life support system on a Mars outpost malfunctions. Two astronauts fight over the last working oxygen tank. One takes it by force. On Earth, that would be considered robbery or even assault. In space, it might be considered survival. The harsh realities of space raise moral and legal dilemmas we've never faced before. Is sabotage of a spacecraft a crime or a desperate attempt to avoid a worse disaster? If rationing food means someone goes hungry, is that neglect or necessity? Philosophers and legal scholars are already debating whether traditional Earth laws can even be applied in an environment where every decision may mean life or death. Section 5. Cybercrime in the cosmos. Unlike Earth, where hackers target servers and banks, future space hackers could target life support systems, navigation controls, or even communication links with Earth. Imagine a ransomware attack that locks the oxygen system of a space station until a ransom is paid. These aren't far-fetched fears. Space agencies already worry about cyber attacks on satellites, which could cripple communication or navigation networks. Extending this to manned missions makes the stakes unimaginably higher. And if humans ever colonize Mars, cyber criminals could hijack entire colonies with a few lines of code. The thought is chilling, but it brings us back to the central question: who would investigate and how? Section 6. Training the first space detectives. Law enforcement agencies aren't waiting for the first major space crime to happen. They're training for it now. Think tanks and universities are creating mock space crimes to test investigative methods in altered gravity. Section 7. The first murder on Mars. It sounds like science fiction, but history suggests otherwise. Wherever humans go, conflict follows. Early colonies on Earth, whether in America, Australia, or the Arctic, faced theft, betrayal, and violence. There's no reason to believe Mars will be any different. The first murder on Mars may not happen tomorrow, but experts warn it's inevitable. Section 8. Space debris, the invisible crime scene. Every rocket we launch leaves debris behind. Dead satellites, boosters, fragments. These orbit Earth at deadly speeds, capable of piercing spacecraft like bullets. Already, space junk collisions threaten astronauts and satellites. Some scientists call this the first true crime of space. Reckless pollution of the final frontier. And unless international law takes action, the future may hold more than just crimes between astronauts. It could hold crimes against the very environment of space itself. Conclusion: the lawless frontier. So what does the future hold? Space will not be free from crime. From altered bloodstains drifting in zero gravity to hackers seizing life support systems to corporations writing their own rules on Mars. The seeds of space crime are already here. But just as humans once built laws for the seas and skies, we now face the challenge of building laws for the stars. It's a race between science, justice, and survival itself. And while the answers remain uncertain, one thing is clear: the next frontier of crime won't happen in a dark alley or a courtroom. It will happen in orbit on Mars, and perhaps one day far beyond. If you found this information thought-provoking and you want to explore more documentaries on how technology, justice, and society collide, make sure to hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. There are many more hidden stories waiting to be uncovered.